Good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. First of all, welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. And if you guys have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please make sure to do that. And if you have not liked the live stream, please make sure to press the like button. Also, if you're not following me over Twitter, 𝗟𝘅𝗶𝗵𝗵, this is my Twitter account, and if you would like to receive occasionally market updates and a few calls, you can always follow me over my Twitter account. You can already see that sometimes I share the market updates, and recently I've started sharing market updates more and more frequently over my Twitter account. So yes, if you're not following me over Twitter, so please make sure to do that real quick. 𝗟𝘅𝗶𝗵𝗵, this is my Twitter account, and we occasionally organize some giveaways as well, some community giveaways as well over my Twitter account. So yeah, make sure that you are following the Twitter account. And if you would like to receive more detailed market analysis, updates and calls, you can always join the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. So let's start the stream. And as requested by some of you in the past few streams, I'm going to focus less on the market update part, and I would be taking a few questions from you guys, right? Mostly the chart requests. So if you have any chart request, any specific coin that you would want me to take a look at, so please make sure to drop it in the chat box. First of all, let's take a look at the economic calendar for this month. We have unemployment claims coming up on Thursday, 23rd of January. We all know that unemployment claims, this is going to be a relatively volatile day. The next important event is on 29th of January, Wednesday, when we have FOMC. Like next week, we have FOMC. We are going to have decision about the rate cuts. I have not recently checked the most updated stats about the probabilities about the rate cuts, but most probably there are not going to be any rate cuts, which is a kind of a bearish thing for the overall market. But yeah, the Trump inauguration happened yesterday. He has not so far signed any kind of executive orders about Bitcoin strategic reserve, about the formation of strategic Bitcoin reserve, SBR, which most of the people are calling it. But two important pieces of news I would like to share with you guys. The first one is about MicroStrategy. Just like any other Monday, just like any other week, the first trading day of the week, they usually announce buying, Saylor usually announces on his Twitter account that they bought this much amount of BTC. And just like any other, start of the week, MicroStrategy has acquired 11,000 Bitcoin for $1.1 billion at 101,191 per Bitcoin, and has achieved a yield of 1.69% for 2025. And now they hold around 461,000 Bitcoin, the total value for which is around $29.3 billion, and their average price is now 63,610. I have mentioned this thing in some of my previous live streams also, that this is not something which is extremely important, like the average price for MicroStrategy, because we have seen this happen in the bear market also, that MicroStrategy's average buying price was around 30,000, 35,000, and then Bitcoin dipped down to 15,000. It's all about, and Saylor himself has announced this thing already on his Twitter account, that he's not concerned about what their average price is. They are buying Bitcoin for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. He was basically, he basically posted a screen recording of someone who kept on buying Bitcoin for the past like 10 years or so. And the total investment was maybe around 96,000, 97,000, and they got a return of around $1 million in a matter of like 10 years. So, he referred to that video saying that this is exactly the strategy which MicroStrategy company is going to use. They are not concerned about, the small price swings. They are not concerned about the small fluctuations in the price. The only thing they're concerned about is that, how much Bitcoin they can actually acquire, which means that, they are planning for the next 5, 10, 15 and 20 years. So once again, this is not something which is really important, but yeah, MicroStrategy has acquired another 11,000 Bitcoin, and now their average entry price is around 63,610 per Bitcoin. And the second important piece of information is about Trump. So, all of us already know that the inauguration happened yesterday. Most of the people were anticipating that there is going to be some kind of mention about Bitcoin strategic reserve. There is going to be some mention about, his coin, but nothing of that sort happened. He just made some political statements about border security and the rest of the things. And then, around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when he was in his office and signing these executive orders. And by the way, his team has communicated that he will be signing close to 200 executive orders. And if there is no executive order for Bitcoin strategic reserve, then this is going to be a really strange thing. But so far, nothing of that sort has happened. But I was just looking at this tweet from someone, a very important person. David, their name is, they just tweeted that got confirmation tonight that our executive orders are among the first 200. Okay. I have no idea what made it in, but good news coming very soon. So yeah, in case, obviously he did not sign all the 200 executive orders in front of the media. He maybe signed 10 to 15 executive orders about the climate change, about the withdrawal from World Health Organization, and a few other executive orders. And a few others are still to be signed, and people are anticipating that there is going to be one about the formation of strategic Bitcoin reserve or national Bitcoin reserve for the United States. And by the way, the US market just opened. This is the first New York Open under Trump administration. We have seen this thing happen in the past, that Trump always takes credit for the performance of the stock market. So people usually, most of the presidents, they usually judge their performances by how economy is performing, how the rest of the things are going on in their country. But for Trump, he usually takes credit for the stock market, for the performance of the stock market. So Trump basically, is always usually focused on the stock market. And if stock market performs well, then, Trump's argument usually is that, okay, the overall country is also performing good. I don't know how valid that is or not, but this is his personal take. And by the way, regarding interest rates also, so far the probability is down a lot, which means that most people are anticipating that there are not going to be any rate cuts for this month's FOMC, and they already have communicated that there are probably going to be only two or maybe just one rate cut for this whole year of 2025. Initially, back in 17th September, when we had the first rate cut in the last 4 years, people were expecting almost 4 rate cuts in 2025. And then the probability reduced to only 2 rate cuts back in, December, 17th of December FOMC. And now the probability has reduced down to maybe 1 or even 0 rate cuts, for the year 2025. Which is a kind of a bearish thing, because stock market and the rest of the financial market, they are obviously expecting that there are going to be rate cuts, and so far this seems quite difficult, right? But Trump, this thing I mentioned in my last live stream also, Trump just before coming into the office, he made this speech that the interest rates are too high and we need to cut the interest rates. Obviously, federal bank, they claim to operate independently, of any kind of political influence. But Trump has been historically the person, a president who has pushed the federal bank to cut the rates, which is something in my opinion going to be quite interesting. Okay, so the market just opened, and let's just take a look at the chart. We talk very little about fundamentals because once again, my belief is that any information that you would need regarding any particular financial instrument, it's always going to be available right in front of you on the chart. You need not to be too concerned about the economy in general. You need not to be concerned about fundamentals in general. All the information that you need, it's available right in front of you on the charts. Okay, so the first thing I immediately noticed looking at the charts is that we have this trend line information on the Bitcoin chart. I don't even remember how many times we have talked about these kind of trend lines over and over again. I can show you multiple examples of this. And our belief about the trend lines is that even if price has been bouncing off these trend lines, maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, eventually price is going to break below the trend line. And it always usually happens to be a very impulsive break below the trend line. I can show you the most recent example on the USDT dominance chart. This is the example for USDT dominance chart. And in case you are wondering that why exactly Bitcoin created a new all-time high, that was mainly because USDT dominance had a break below the trend line. Okay, I'm going to once again focus less on the market update part. I would try to keep it as short as possible, and I would focus more on charting your favorite coins. So let's just quickly take a look at the Bitcoin chart. We have this trend line information, not the best example of the trend line, but you have the first bounce of the trend line, then you have the second bounce, you have the third bounce. There have been a few attempts on the price chart to break below this trend line, but so far price has been holding good above this region. But in my opinion, sooner or later, if we continue to hold above, sooner or later price is going to break below this trend line, and that's going to be a very impulsive break, right? A similar kind of thing I mentioned almost like 3-4 weeks ago when we were trading above this trend line. I was doing the live stream and I was mentioning this to people, saying that price ultimately is going to break below this trend line, and that's going to be a very impulsive break, because we have talked about the same thing over and over again. That why exactly that happens, I need not to go into details of that. You guys can go and watch some of the previous live streams. And by the way, 80 plus people are watching the live stream and only 28 of you have liked the live stream. Please make sure to press the like button. Thank you so much. So ultimately price would break below the trend line. It would take out all of these stop losses, then it would consolidate, then it would fall back into some higher time frame support, and then it would go back up, give a nice bearish retest, and that's when you can take a short position. And if it falls back down to higher time frame support, that's when you can take a long position. These are two entry models, and I remember during the last live stream we discussed both of these entry models in detail. And you would be a little bit surprised to notice this thing, that sometimes the entry models, they can be extremely simple. They need not to be super complex, right? So on the USDT dominance chart also, notice the same thing. Price had a break below the trend line. Price fell back into some higher time frame support. It simply just went back up, consolidated, went back up, gave a nice bearish retest at the trend line, and then we had a nice drop in the price. This is usually how these trend lines work. So coming back to the Bitcoin chart, ultimately price would fall back into some higher time frame support. And this looks like a good spot where price could be bouncing off from, because you can already notice this thing. We had a deviation below this region, a small deviation below this support, 98.5k support, although historically price has always struggled to give a nice bounce above or at the 98.5k support. But in any case, this is a deviation below 98.5k support, and ultimately if price has to fall back down, it would fall back into some higher time frame support. 98.5k, it looks like a good spot. And I'm warning you this thing. Usually I give the warning. Usually I get to do the live stream around the US market open, and usually I give the warning, a similar kind of warning, right? So I'm warning you that if you are holding on to any long position, I don't know about Trump's foundation infinitely buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. I don't care about Department of Government Efficiency putting in the logo of Dogecoin. I don't care about executive orders. I'm just talking about the chart part, right? In terms of chart, this is not looking good, right? And there is every possibility that we can have a move down to 98.5k. Okay. We can break below this trend line. This is going to be a very impulsive break. We all know that people who are taking their long positions at this moment also, they're simply just placing the stops below this low, and obviously there are quite a few stop losses placed below this low as well. And so for those of you who have been following my Discord channel, we have been waiting to take a long position. We have been wanting to take a long position around 92.8k. We unfortunately missed this long position. The deviation happened, price without giving any retest. This is usually a very powerful entry model, right? Price without giving any kind of retest. Usually the retests, they happen, and usually it's a very strong, very powerful retest, but that did not happen in this situation. But whenever we get a retest of 92.6k, 92.7k, I'm definitely going to build a long position around here, because I believe that this is going to be very strong support. Although there are quite a few confluences present around in this region also, 98.5k, We may have quarterly and yearly VWAP. I'm definitely sure about that. Quarterly and yearly VWAP. Okay, this is your quarterly VWAP. Why is it not working? It's still taking time to. Okay, so this is your quarterly VWAP on the 4-hour time frame chart. This is your yearly VWAP on the 4-hour time frame chart. Although we have retested the yearly VWAP first time of, we had a break above, but a complete retest has not happened so far, which means that if price falls back down into, if price starts breaking below this trend line, there is every possibility that we would eventually fall back down into a higher time frame support, which is 98.5K in this situation. We have 4-hour quarterly VWAP, we have 4-hour yearly VWAP. And if you would like to draw fibs in this situation, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave, you have the possibility that price can go back down to 96.8K, almost 97K, 96K. But since there has been some confusion about these confluences spread around in this region, I'm definitely not going to bet in this area. I would be focusing mainly on the altcoins, but I'm definitely not going to bet Bitcoin in this region. If I had to buy Bitcoin, I would simply just wait very patiently for price to go back down to 92.7K. I don't know if that's gonna happen in one candle or like in 1 month, but whenever that happens, this usually is going to act as a very strong support, because we had a deviation and price did not give a nice retest after the deviation, which means that this retest is still pending of this support around 91K, and this is going to be a very good opportunity to build a long position. It's as simple as that. This is my whole take about the Bitcoin chart. Obviously, price is still struggling to break above this spot. Okay, if I just show you quickly a blank Bitcoin chart, this is the daily time frame chart for Bitcoin, and I guess we would have to move to the weekly time frame chart. Yeah, so on the weekly time frame chart, this is the same fractal that we are following over and over again. This was the last cycle's all-time high. This was the previous cycle's low around 15,000, 14,000. If you would draw the fibs, you would notice that a big reaction happened at 61% level when price dropped from 49,000 down to 38,000. And now the next reaction was supposed to be happening around 161, 170. We are still struggling to go past this region, which means that we are still in the danger zone. And I'm not talking just about the Bitcoin chart. I would show you the USDT dominance chart as well. But we have a very interesting kind of situation when you take a look at the USDT dominance chart. Okay, I would show you what I'm talking about. But we are still struggling to go past this 161, 170 region. And if we manage to go past this region, if we manage to go past this resistance area, the next resistance area, as per this fractal, the next big resistance or the next big retracement is going to happen around 261% fib level, 270, 261% fib level, which is around 156,000, 160,000. Okay, so if you would buy Bitcoin, if you manage to buy Bitcoin around a good support, then you should be holding at least up to 156,000, because that's where the next resistance for Bitcoin is going to be. But this is only going to happen if we manage, once again, if we manage to go past this region, 161.80 and 170.50. We have already seen that 61 reaction happened, 161 reaction happened, and now it's time for 261, but only if we manage to go past this region. And you can already see this thing that in this region we had a break above 61 spot. Okay, then we consolidated, came back down, gave a nice retest once again at 61 spot, and then we moved quickly back up to 161. So if we manage to go past this region once again, we would have a huge impulsive move towards 261, then we would eventually go back down to 161, and this is going to act as a very strong support. And this is not something which is clear just by looking at the Bitcoin chart. If you would take a look at the USDT dominance chart, you would notice a very similar thing. First of all, let me quickly show you a few important developments that have happened on the USDT dominance chart. This is a 4-hour time frame chart of USDT dominance, and once again, price was bouncing off the trend line, the first bounce, the second bounce, the third bounce, and the fourth bounce. And if you have been someone who actively watches my live stream, not just for market updates, but actually has been paying attention, if you have been paying attention to, all these entry models that I explained during my live streams, you would know that the only way that you can know, the only way that you can judge if the price is about to break below a trend line or above a trend line is if the retracements, the rejections or the bounces, they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So in this situation, you had the first bounce, which was big enough, the second bounce big enough, the third bounce, it was smaller one in comparison to the previous one. And then you had this last bounce, which was the smallest one in comparison to all of these previous bounces, which basically shows you that obviously this is a chart for an index, you cannot trade it. But if it was a tradable chart, you would have said that, okay, you know, we should start building a short position because price very soon is about to break below this trend line. Once again, 80 plus people are watching the live stream. Only 45 of you have liked it. Please make sure to press the like button. This is really going to motivate me to create more and more content for you guys. And by the way, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. So, you know, you have a break below the trend line. And how can you know that if price is about to break below the trend line? By looking at this bounce right here. But something that I have been mentioning over and over again, that USDT dominance is not ready to give up below this weekly support. Okay, this is not a 4-hour time frame support. This is not a daily support. This is not a 3-day support. This is actually a weekly time frame support. This is a very strong support area. If I just zoom out a little bit, you can notice that. And the most interesting part is that this is the same support, you know, at which USDT dominance bounced off from back on 13th of March 2024. Okay, and this was the date, if you guys don't remember, this was the date when Bitcoin created its new all-time high at 73,000. And rest is all history. We created the all-time high at 73,000. USDT dominance bounced off very quickly off this weekly support area, and similarly Bitcoin had a crazy rejection from $73,000 resistance area, and then we consolidated in this region, 73,000 down to 60,000, down to 50,000 for, like, you know, 6-7 months consecutively. We had price action in this region. So the point is that this is the same support. This is the same region which gave us the last all-time high, which gave us the all-time high 7 to 8 months ago. But this is a very dangerous spot. Back on 6th of December, right, we had another attempt to break below this weekly support, which resulted in a very nice deviation. We know the result of deviation. Whenever the deviations are created, the next retest, they are usually very good opportunity. This was the first retest. This was the second retest. Price bounced off from this region. Again, we had another bounce off this weekly support. We had another bounce off this weekly support. So the point is that USDT dominance is not ready to give up on this weekly support area. Okay, and this is the main resistance for Bitcoin. Bitcoin has no price action at 110,000. Bitcoin has no price action at 112,000. A lot many times people are always wondering that how can you take a look at the Bitcoin chart at 115,000, 120,000 and say that there is a resistance present around in that region? Answer is very simple. You have a very limited number of options available if price is trading in an uncharted territory. You know, the first obvious option is of use of fib levels. Obviously, you can take a look at the order book or a few other things, but a very important tool is basically in the form of the correlated charts. We have BTC USDT.3s, BTC USDT.3l, and the USDT dominance chart. So in this situation, you can see that USDT dominance has been bouncing off this, you know, weekly support over and over again. And the moment we break below this support, because notice this thing, it's been 1 year that price is, or let's just say that bulls are trying their best to make USDT dominance, bulls for Bitcoin, they're trying their best to make USDT dominance break below this, break below this weekly support area. But that has not happened so far, which means that this is a very strong support area. But the point is that if we manage to break below this support area and Bitcoin goes on to create a new all-time high, since, you know, this support has been held since past 1 year or so, it's going to be changed into an equally strong resistance area. So it's going to take an equal amount of effort, because remember this thing, it's been 1 year that we are trading above this, you know, above this weekly support. So once we break below, and once we flip this weekly support into weekly resistance, it's going to take an equal amount of effort for for bears to break below the 105,000, 108,000, 107,000, whatever the price action of the Bitcoin chart is at that moment. It's going to take an equal amount of effort for bears to break below this support area on the Bitcoin chart, or to say that it's going to take an equal amount of effort to break above this USDT dominance resistance. So it's a good thing. The only good part in this whole situation that not many people are realizing or noticing is that we had this, the first time we came down to this region back on 13th of March 2024, we had bounced from 383% all the way up to 6.69%, right? This is a crazy bounce, almost an 80% bounce on the USDT dominance chart. The second time we came back to this region, we had this bounce, the third time this bounce, the fourth time this bounce, the fifth time this bounce. So the point is that every time we go back down to this higher time frame support, luckily or thankfully, the bounces are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay, I cannot really say because price has so far been sitting above this weekly support. I have no other tool, I have no other reason, no other confluence to say that okay, price is about to break below the support area, which means that Bitcoin is going to go up to like 200k, 150k. But the only good part is that these bounces, they are getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And we know the rule, if price is hitting into level over and over again and the retracements are getting smaller and smaller, then this basically means that price is about to break above or below that level. And in this situation, since it's a support area, so it's quite possible that price is about to break below this support area very soon because these bounces, they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And by the way, the same entry model applies in this situation also. You see, you can have the USDT dominance chart open right in front of you, and then on the other screen, you can have the Bitcoin chart, and then you can easily scalp the Bitcoin chart by taking a look at the USDT dominance chart. You have Bitcoin dominance bouncing off this trend line. You would notice that, okay, price is about to break below this trend line, which means that Bitcoin is about to, create a new all-time high, or Bitcoin is about to break above 98.5k or 100k, whatever the price is at that moment. Then USDT dominance falls back down into higher time frame support. You know that this is a support for USDT dominance, which means that since both of these charts are negatively correlated, you should close your long position on the Bitcoin chart. Okay, because if this one goes back down to support, it automatically means that Bitcoin hit the resistance area. What's the next entry model? You wait for the break below the trend line, you wait for price to fall back into higher time frame support, then you wait for the bearish retest of the trend line. This was the bearish retest of the trend line. And then you could have taken obviously you cannot take short position on USDT dominance, but alternatively, you could have simply just tried to take a long position on the Bitcoin chart. Okay, because this one was hitting into the trend line, which is basically now acting as a resistance area, and this is a bearish retest. And more importantly, okay, something that you are not, all of this information, nobody is going to tell you over YouTube. Nobody is going to explain in his live streams. People would usually just go over the charts and try to explain to you, wherever the market is headed, right? They would simply just explain a few things on the chart. They are not going to get into the details of that. And more importantly, since I have created some of these dynamic lines and indicators myself, since I have been working with some of these indicators for the past like 3-4 years, I know best how to use some of these indicators, right? And this VWAP indicator, most of you already have access to it. This quarterly and yearly VWAP indicator, something that I've explained in some of my previous live streams also, that whenever both of these dynamic lines, they kind of cross each other and price is hitting into it, be it as a support or be it as a resistance, it usually acts as a very strong level. Okay, just go and watch my previous live stream and you would hear me talking about it. So the same thing happened around here. These two dynamic lines, they came very close to each other. Not only price was hitting into this trend line, giving a bearish retest, but price was also hitting into this resistance area, this horizontal resistance area that I have drawn on my USDT dominance chart. But also price was hitting into quarterly and yearly VWAP. And both of these dynamic lines, they were extremely close to each other, which was basically an indication that, okay, price is about to go down on the USDT dominance chart and it's about to go back up on the Bitcoin chart. Okay. So, all of these rules you can simply just apply. It's completely up to you. And, finally, let's take a look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Bitcoin dominance, the same thing. You have this trend line. I did mention this in the market updates channel. I was warning basically people over and over again back on Friday that others.d, this is the market cap for the low market cap coins and a mid market cap coin. This is simply just the market cap of all the altcoins excluding the top 10 cryptocurrencies. Okay, and similar situation applies here. Price is bouncing off the trend line, first bounce, second bounce, third bounce, fourth bounce, and this was the smallest bounce, and then there was this another bounce which was smallest one compared to all the previous one. Once again, the same logic applies. You know that if price has been bouncing off the trend line over and over again, very soon it's about to break below the trend line, and it's going to be a very impulsive break below the trend line, right? And the same exact thing happened. Price had a break below the trend line, very impulsive, fell back into higher time frame support. This is the higher time frame support. We had the deviation below this region as well. You could have simply just taken a few long position on altcoins. Price went back up, gave a nice bearish retest at this trend line. We had a move back down to this support area, and so far it's been struggling to give any break towards upside. And we are not just trading. I think the audio is working just fine. Somebody mentioned in the chat box that they cannot hear me. Yeah, the audio is working fine. I think you may have some issue at your end. Okay, so you have this trend line, and the the worst part in this situation, I would say, is that we are not only trading under this resistance area, but we are also trading under 4-hour quarterly VWAP, 4-hour yearly VWAP, which is not the perfect situation, because we know that there are too many resistances around in this spot, which means that the mid market cap coin, the low market cap coins, all of the altcoins excluding the top 10 coins like XRP, like Dogecoin, like ADA, like few other top cryptocurrencies, most of these altcoins, they're going to have some hard time real soon, until and unless we break above this region and then we fully reclaim this support area. Similar is the case on the Bitcoin dominance chart. I was warning people that we have a very same kind of trend line on Bitcoin dominance. You see, I basically showed you 4 charts: Bitcoin chart, USDT dominance chart, the _D chart, and then the Bitcoin dominance chart. And all of these charts, I'm trying my best to explain in terms of trend lines. You have a same kind of trend line on the USDT dominance chart. You spot the trend line, you know that price is about to break above this trend line. We had a very impulsive break above the trend line. Then we consolidated, then we came back, gave a nice bullish retest at the trend line, and so far price has been holding above this trend line. And most probably we would go back up to this region. The only reason why we are struggling around here, difficult to say where we are headed on the Bitcoin dominance chart, but so far we have been trading around 70.5, 65% fib level, and if we go past this region, then the next resistance area is going to be around 59.65. Okay, and once any executive order is signed about Bitcoin, the moment there is some news about the executive orders about Bitcoin or any such thing, you are going to have a massive candle on the Bitcoin chart, most probably up to 120k. And similarly on the Bitcoin dominance would also start going up, and this is usually a sign of a healthy rally, right? You don't want a kind of situation in which Bitcoin is going up but Bitcoin dominance is going down. This is kind of a dangerous situation. So if Bitcoin dominance keeps going up with Bitcoin creating a new all-time high, this is usually a good situation. But so far the altcoins, they are not performing good. Others.D, that's not looking good. You have Bitcoin dominance, which is looking quite good. It just keeps on going up and up. It just fails to break below some higher time frame support regions, which is a kind of really bad thing. Okay, and most probably we are going to form another trend line around here, and then we would have a massive break up to 62%, 63%, basically another massacre for all of these altcoins. And lastly, let me take a look at the Ethereum chart, and then I would simply just take chart requests from you guys. Once again, a request to all of you, if you're watching the live stream and if you actually like the content, please make sure to like the live stream. And recently I have been discussing it with my team. Most probably we are going to have live stream every single day around the US market open, or at least 3 to 4 times a day. I would try my best to do that because I really want the audience to be engaged. I really want you guys to be updated about the market. Thank you so much, and please make sure to like the live stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Finally, let's take a look at the Ethereum chart, and once again, let this be on record. Okay, let this be on record, because once again, these live streams, they are going to be over YouTube. So I would show you guys at some point in time very soon. Ethereum has a very same kind of trend line. I know that people have been, trash posting about Ethereum, saying that I have been doing that a lot, right? But, we all know that, Ethereum it has a good looking chart in terms of trend line. Although it's sitting above this, sitting just below this resistance area, it's sitting below quarterly and yearly VWAP. It's still struggling to break above this region. But you know, Trump's foundation, Liberty Foundation, they have been non-stop buying Ethereum since the last 2 or 3 days, which basically shows you something is definitely going to happen. And by the way, they have been buying coins called Link, Aave, Ethereum, Bitcoin as well. So they're mostly investing into the top cryptocurrencies, mostly into the Dino basket, right? But the point is that this is the trend line that we have right in front of us. Okay, the first touch, the second touch, the third touch, if you would adjust the trend line slightly, you would have another reaction at the trend line, which means that very soon, okay, let this be on record, very soon we are going to have a massive break above the trend line. These trend line breaks, they always happen, right? Sooner or later we are going to have a trend line break above this region, and it's going to be it's going to take the price at least up to $4,000 region. Something that I'm really annoyed about right now is that this Trump coin, this shit coin, you know, gave us a front run by 0.2, I guess by 2%, right? So it missed our entry by 2%, and now it's up around, it basically went up 40% just overnight, just in a matter of few hours. We have our spot limits placed on Trump coin around 29.622, and then we have DC around 24.56. Stop loss is 19.921. This is a spot entry. And you know, somebody just mentioned about Trump coin in the chat. That's why I'm sharing my analysis for Trump coin. This is and by the way, I shared this entry when Trump coin was trading around $75-$76, and everybody was saying that, are you mad? How do you expect price to go back down to $29? That's never really gonna happen. But you know, you all know me already, right? I'm always betting the right points. I'm always waiting for price to come back down to me. I'm always waiting for price to come back to me instead of simply just going after the price or simply just chasing the price. So in this situation, this was my point of interest. Although it had a nice harmonic pattern, also based on that harmonic pattern, price had a nice bounce above this 30.5 region. I realized it later on because it was on the 15-minute chart, 10-minute chart. I usually don't go to, you know, smaller time frame charts, but I realized it later on when I saw someone else sharing a similar kind of chart, and I realized that, okay, there was a harmonic pattern. The last leg, the final point for which was around $30.8. But anyways, you know, I still have entry for Trump coin placed around 29.622. I came up with this spot when everybody was talking about bidding around 63, 60, 55, 50. I said that I would only be buying around 29.622, right? I still have entry placed around this spot, which means I would wait for price to come back down to this region, and then I would buy in spot. Hopefully, you know, this drops down a little bit. But if Trump gives any indication about, you know, any executive order related to crypto, strategic Bitcoin reserve, then this one is definitely going to pump. And you know, so far we can already see that it has this kind of wave structure. You have impulsive, corrective, impulsive wave structure. So you know, we'll be lucky if, you know, we get another wave, let's suppose up to this region, which is going to be around like $51, $52, and then once again we drop back down to $29. We missed this entry just by 2%, and now it's up almost like 45%, 46%. Sherlock, you use harmonics? No, I don't really use harmonic patterns, but only sometimes I'm experimenting with harmonic pattern. I have a few indicators applied on the chart, and you know, I usually don't go through the process of drawing the harmonic patterns manually. So I would sometimes use indicators to give me an indication if there is any harmonic pattern present on the chart, but I don't really use harmonic patterns that much because, you know, it's just a personal choice. I don't really think that they have a very high win rate. I'm usually relying on other confluences. Okay, so somebody mentioned about XRP also. By the way, regarding Fartcoin, this is our entry on Fartcoin, right? This is the daily time frame chart, and this entry also you can find out on my Twitter account. Okay, you can find out on my Twitter account entry for Fartcoin as well. 1.41. Once again, the entry was shared when price was around $2.3. Everybody was saying that how do we expect price to go back down to $1.41? This is the point. Okay, I would only be bidding at the right levels, okay, and I'm not going to chase the price even if it's extremely bullish. So at this point you can notice that, you know, the 61% level is present around here. I guess our entry is at 61%. I hope we have placed the entry correctly. No, our entry is slightly below 61%. I don't know, you know, why I placed entry at this point. I should have placed a little bit above 61% level, but anyways, this is our entry for the fart coin, and you can already see this is by the way a spot entry. I'm not taking. I only have one leverage position open, and which is basically an XRP. This is my limit for XRP. It's going to take quite some time for price to drop back down to this spot, almost in 18% move. But since I'm focusing on the higher time frame charts, I'm not going to go to smaller time frame charts to bid or to place any entry around the current market prices. So on the XRP chart, I have the limits placed around 2.49, DC I guess around this region 2.27, and stop loss is 2.1904. This is a leverage position, so you can place the limit and wait for XRP to drop back down to this region. We all know that bounce of the all-time high above the previous all-time high. This is also a very strong entry model, especially for the big market cap coins. When they go on to create a new all-time high, the last all-time high, even if there is no support present around that region, because we know that the definition for support is price needs to give a reaction 3 times at that region, or the definition for resistance is price needs to give a reaction 3 times at that particular region, and only then it would be termed as a resistance area. So in this case, you can see that this was the all-time high. There was no support present around this region in XRP, but we know that the last all-time highs, they usually act as strong support and resistance region. So in this situation also, this is the this was the last all-time high. XRP had a nice bounce of the last all-time high. We did not place any entry around here. I'm still expecting that sooner or later XRP would drop at least down to 2.50 spot. The entry once again is based on the fib levels. In this situation also, you can see that this was the last major swing low. This was the last major swing high. People would have said that when it was trading around 2.8 that it would never go back down to 1.89, but eventually we had a nice wick down to 1.8930, and then price picked up simply. So if you had placed your entry a little bit above 161% fib level, you would have got a nice move, almost a 74% move just in a matter of few days. So that's why I have my entry placed precisely at this level, because if you would draw the fibs for this major swing low up to this major swing high, this is a 61% level, and I have my entry placed slightly above the 61.8% fib level. So I'm expecting that sooner or later XRP would drop back down to this region. But obviously I mentioned in that call also that if price breaks above the last all-time high, which is around 3.4, then this call would automatically go invalid, because obviously you have the major swing low, you have the major swing high. If a new major swing high is created, then the positioning of the fib levels, that is also going to change, which means that this is no longer going to be a valid entry. Somebody mentioned about AIXBT as well. The same logic, the same rules apply on the AIXBT chart as well. And if you guys remember, almost like a month ago when the coin was first launched, we bought AIXBT around 0.39, if I'm not wrong, around 0.39. Yeah, this was an entry on AIXBT, 0.39. And then it went on to give us a 162% move, although we closed our full position, I guess, around this region after like 80%, 90% unleveraged move. But once again, it has a very nice structure. And on the weekly time frame also, let's just draw the volume profile, and volume profile also telling us that there is a nice point of control present around here. Anyways, on the weekly time frame chart, you would notice that it's just 2 or 3 giant candle, which means I'm definitely going to bid around 0.53842. I guess the DCA is placed around 0.42. For all of my spot trades, you can find them on my Twitter account as well. I recently shared most of my calls over my Twitter account. So if you're not following me over Twitter, once again, 𝗟𝘍𝗶𝗵𝘁, this is my Twitter account, and you can see that the limits you can find on that. This is a limit for Filecoin, this is a limit for OXT, this is a limit for IO. You can see that I have so many limits already placed, and so many others I'm going to place soon as the live stream ends. I have all of these coins on RD, Prime, Ford, 𝗖𝗍𝗶𝘀, DBR, Super, MDT, Theta. All of these limits I'm going to place as soon as the live stream ends. Okay, so please make sure to join the Discord server and follow me over Twitter and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay, so let's just quickly move on to the chart requests. Can you do bonk? Okay. Okay, so most people are talking about the AI agent coins. The first one, let's take a look at. This one is also a newly launched token. Let's take a look at the Bybit chart. Okay, let me be very honest with you. This one is looking bad. Okay, we are on the Binance chart. Let me just open up the perpetual chart. I think I might. Okay, let me just remove all of these drawings. And this is the Bybit perpetual chart, right? Let's take a look at the spot chart as well, because I believe it's looking quite interesting. Okay, so it's definitely not looking good. Okay, price is continuing to make new all-time low. But we know that whenever price is trading in an uncharted territory, we can always use the fib levels. In this situation, the fib levels are not of much help. Price just had a rejection of the 50% level. Usually I consider a fractal to be a valid one if the rejection happens at least around 61.80, which means this is not really a valid fractal for me. But if you would reverse the levels, I believe that no, this definitely is not a valid fractal. So let's just open up the perpetual chart on Bybit and let's see what that one is telling us. By the way, we can open up the Binance chart also, which is the most reliable one in these kind of situations usually. Binance chart. Okay, so on the Binance chart, Binance perpetual chart, and by the way, we had a bad experience with this coin called 𝗬𝗃. Okay, we had a very good long position open on it, and it gave us like an 11%, 12% move just in a matter of 3-4 hours. Then eventually Binance announced that they're going to list 𝗬𝗃 for future trading, and that coin went down immediately around 20%, 30%, just in a matter of few minutes, just in a matter of few hours. So this is usually a very common pattern. Remember this thing, nobody's going to tell you all of these things. Very important piece of information. Usually a pattern with Binance listings is that if a coin is listed in spot, it usually goes up. There could be a few exceptions also, but it usually ends up going high. Similar was the case with Trump, similar was the case with all the other listings also. But usually whenever a coin is listed in perpetual futures, it immediately goes down. Okay, because this has become a perception with among all the other users also, that whenever Binance lists a coin for future trading, not for spot trading, they immediately dump it, or they immediately start taking short positions on it. I don't know if that's mainly because of Binance, or that's mainly because people usually anticipate this thing and they start building their short positions. But yeah, this is a very common pattern, that whenever a coin is listed in perpetual trading, for perpetual trading, and not in spot, it usually always goes down. So similar is the case here. As you can see that this coin is only listed in perpetual futures on Binance and not in spot, which definitely means that this one had to go down. But if you look at the pattern, right, on perpetual futures chart as well, although not the best possible chart you can take a look at in this situation, but this was a very small fractal. Okay, price had a very small bounce of 127% level. First of all, let me show you if I turn the levels back to normal. Okay, so you had a nice rejection of 65% level, 70% level, which basically shows you that this is a working fractal. And as per that working fractal, okay, the next bounce should have happened at 127% level, and this is exactly what happened. The next bounce happened of 127% level at 22% bounce, and then the next bounce should have happened at 170 or 161% level. You can take a look at 165% level also, and you can place your stop loss below this 188, 199, and then we had another bounce of 44%, and then the next bounce usually happens at 261% level, right? So I'm going to, if I had to take a long position, if I have to, buy this one in spot, I would simply just wait for price to go back at least down to this level. I'm just setting the alerts around here. Sorry to say this, if you have any long position open on it, if you have bought this in spot, this one is definitely going to go down to at least 30 cents. That's almost a 67% move down. But we know that this is a very common pattern with new listings. The volatility is always there. You can just set a very tight stop loss in this situation, when price goes down. But this is a region where you can expect the price to go back up. So it's going to look something like this. Price would eventually make a move like this. Okay. Big dip on Fartcoin, Sherlock. I have limits placed on Fartcoin, AIXBT, both around this spot. On AIXBT, 53 cents. On Fartcoin, around 1.41. I'm definitely expecting the prices to go down to these levels. Let's see what happens. I'm more concerned about the Trump coin because this shit literally gave us a 2% front run and then eventually went up 45%. Okay, that would have been such a great entry. But yeah, it's okay. Let's just wait and see what happens. Can you please take a look at ENA? Okay. And by the way, just to let you know, the Trump Foundation also bought a huge bag of ENS, Ethereum Name Service Coin. Okay, let's take a look at ENA coin. Let's take a look at the Bybit perpetuals chart. Okay, this one I already have a limit for. Let me show you the weekly time frame chart. This is the weekly time frame chart, and you can already see this thing that if you would draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave, you have a nice entry around this region. 61% fib level is present around here. And even if you would go to the smaller time frame charts, let me just remove this one and apply the latest one, because I recently changed the theme, the colors on my chart. So I'm definitely going to bid ENA around this spot. So as soon as the live stream ends, I would share the limits with you guys. Sooner or later, this one would drop back down to this region, because we had the bounce, it came back under this region, we had the rejection, came back up. This region has not been retested so far, which basically shows you that this is a very strong region, right? And by the way, we know that double top pattern, it's usually a very good reversal pattern, and in this situation you can notice that this coin already has a nice double top pattern around this region, around this resistance area. Let me just adjust it a little bit. Let's clone this. Okay, so you have if you take a look at the daily time frame chart, you have a nice double top which formed around here, around this resistance area on the ENA chart. This is a neckline for the double top chart. Let me remove this or maybe adjust it like this. So you have a nice double top present on this chart. This is the neckline. Price had a break below, retested the neckline, then once again dropped a little bit. Eventually, I have set the alerts. Let me just, okay, this one is already added in my chart list, charted watch list. And in my opinion, this one would eventually go back down to this region. This is where you should be bidding ENA, or you should be buying it in spot. Can you please do HYPE? Yeah, sure. HYPE had a very good structure. We recently missed HYPE, although it consolidated in the same spot for like almost, yeah, this was my entry on HYPE. I don't know how I actually missed it. The weekly time frame chart, you draw the fibs, you notice that price consolidated in the same spot, 61% fib level for almost like 2 weeks. The first week, second week, third week, then it simply just picked up. So we should have definitely bought HYPE around $20.91. Apart from this, there were a few other confluences also. If you would draw the volume profile as well, no, volume profile is not suggesting any buy around here. But anyways, since this was a new listing, a very strong market cap coin, a big market cap coin, sooner or later this one is going to list it over Binance as well. It had a very nice entry around here, but for some reason we missed it. But so apart from this, I don't have any other entry. Not just this entry, but we also had not just this fib level formation, but also we have this trend line break, and we all know what happens with trend line breaks. This was a nice trend line formation, and we just had a break below, or we are trying to have a break below, trying to have a break above this trend line. Doge had a very similar kind of breakout just this morning. So yeah, Crow. This one is not listed over any mainstream exchanges. Crow. This is basically just an on-chain AI agent coin. Let me see if The chart is available on, I would have to go to Dex Screener in order to take a look at this chart. Let me see. No, I would have to go to Dex Screener to take a look at this chart. Okay, let's take a look at virtual. I actually have a limit for virtual also. This one. So this is my, let me just remove everything and show you guys the weekly time frame chart for virtual. This is the weekly time frame chart for virtual. You draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave. Since we don't have too many confluences present, right? I'm expecting the price to at least go back down to this region. It had a bounce slightly above the 61% level, but still I would expect that, it goes pico down to 61% fib level, then gives a nice retest at this region. I would have a wide stop loss since it's going to be a spot entry. Most probably my second entry is going to be at 70% fib level, the first entry around 61.80, and that's where I'm going to bet virtual. So virtual, this one would definitely go down at least 12% more, but 2.1734, this is a spot where you can expect virtual to go up. But I would be a little bit cautious because apart from this, there are not too many confluences present. Usually I'm using fibs on the higher time frame chart whenever there are some higher time frame supports present, right? On the weekly time frame chart, whenever there is a higher time frame support present, and this one has point of control around this region, which means that it can even drop back down to $1.65 spot. But let's see what happens. Virtual also is in my watch list. Let me just add it down at the bottom so that I'm able to share it as soon as the live stream ends. What longer CMPs are you thinking of? No, I don't really think that I have any CMP position, current market price position. I would just place the limits for now. We have two limits that are about to be filled, AIXBT, and second is a fight coin, and the third one was Trump. Once again, that's a slightly unfortunate case with Trump coin. We missed it. But yeah, these two are the ones that I'm looking at. And by the way, if you just joined in, please make sure to like the live stream. Please make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please make sure to follow me over my Twitter account, 𝗟𝘅𝗍𝗏. This is my Twitter handle. You can join the Discord server also. Link you're going to find in the description of this video. And by the way, how many of you are actually using Bluffin? How many of you are using Bluffin? You are eligible to have the free trial of my Discord server. You can have a free 7-day subscription of 𝗨𝗏𝗃𝗀's Discord server, my Discord server, where you can receive all of these calls, market updates, spot calls, swing trading calls, future trading calls, and then there are like 15 to 16 other analysts also. Top analysts we have in our Discord server. You can join in with those analysts. You can take their calls. So, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay for it. Just a 7-day trial you can claim if only you are using the Bluffin account. Okay, so all you have to do is you need to have an account over Bluffin. You need not to create a new account. Even if you have an old account, even if you have an existing account, simply just join the Discord server. The link you are going to find in the description of this video, 𝗨𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏org, and you can join the Discord server and you can open up the support ticket. You can tell the support staff your Discord UID, and you can simply just claim your free subscription for 7 days. Okay, and we regularly do free giveaways for our Discord do free giveaways for our Bluffin members. We recently had a giveaway back on 1st of January that all of you are eligible for free subscription, free 30-day subscription, any one of you who had a Bluffin account with us. And now recently we have introduced subscription discounts as well. So anyone who has a Bluffin account with our referral link, or anyone even who has a Bluffin account, all you have to do is open up a support ticket and give your UID, and we would give you a discount for your membership, right? The membership discount is maybe going to 15%, 20%. I don't know. You would have to ask the staff for that. What do you think about 𝗟𝘅𝗃𝗀 1-inch grass? Okay. Once again, all you have to do is just open up the support ticket and give your UID in order to claim the trial. How risky is opening long positions right now? I think it's quite risky. I believe it's quite risky. Okay, let me take a look at the gross USDT chart. This one also already gone past the 61% level. Let me see the reason I have placed this limit. Possibly because of the, yeah, possibly because of the, let's go to daily time frame. Let's draw the volume profile. Yeah, I'm expecting grass to give a nice bounce off here, although it's very risky because price already had a break below this region. But yeah, on grass we have another support present around here, and then we have this support. Let me just change it back to this theme. So on grass, it's quite simple chart. We have the next support around here. You can extend your entry a little bit, but I'm definitely expecting the price would eventually go back down to this region. It has already started to break below this support area. So if you are someone who is planning to open a long position on grass, this is going to be an entry point. Okay. Let's remove this. And by the way, how many of you like this new color theme on my price charts? Is it good or not? I think it's much better because this one has no emotional association, because this one has no green or red colors on the price chart. It looks good, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so for grass, these are going to be my limits. Let me set an alert around here. And let me just bring it down to the bottom of the watch list, because I'm going to share the limits as soon as the live stream ends, okay? For this one as well. Although it's quite risky because price has already started to break below the support level. But yeah, this one I'm definitely going to bid. Yes, the color scheme is much better. Yeah, I actually like this one because the previous one had like, different colors for support, resistances, for, the whole chart. So I thought maybe let's just have a kind of neutral color scheme, which has the same color for all the tools, right? Green back, please. Okay. Can you check super? I actually have a limit for super as well. This is my limit for super. I would be sharing it as soon as the live stream ends. Let me just change for this one as well. It's a very tedious process, but I have been charting all the coins in my watch list. It usually takes like 5 to 6 minutes to chart one coin when you are doing that in detail, looking at all of these confluences and everything. But I have been doing it since morning. So far, I have charted like, 20 to 30 coins. There are like, 400 plus coins to chart. I would do that in the next 2-3 days. So I'm going to shoot a lot of limits for you guys. So make sure to place all of them, and let's just wait for price to go back down. Okay. Because people have been asking me non-stop about my spot picks and everything. So this is all about that. I'm going to share my spot picks and the top charts with you guys. For super, I'm going to share this one as well. You can see that I already have added in my charted watch list, and this one would definitely drop down to 89 cent. It's currently trading around $1, 89 cent. It would at least go down to. That's my thought. If you can check PEP, if you have time. Yeah, sure. PEP USDT.P Bybit. Okay, so for PEP, this was my original entry. Price went down to this region, and you can see that it went up almost 51%, right? Let me see if I can find another entry for PEP. I guess it has this. Let's take a look at daily, and let's just try to see if there is a trend line. Yeah, this definitely has a trend line. This has a trend line. And what about the next support? And by the way, this is what I was talking about. PEP had a nice bounce off the last all-time high. So you know that the last all-time highs, they act as strong support regions, right? So this has now become a strong support for PEP. For PEP, let's just draw the fibs from this level, right? No, PEP has already tapped the 61% level. This was such a nice entry on PEP. You can see that this was such a good entry on PEP. Very good risk to reward ratio. It even gave us like a 46% move as well. Took quite some time, but yeah. So for PEP, uh, I think the options are quite limited in this situation. We can maybe use the next support on the daily time frame chart. Yeah, we can definitely do that. This is a next support on the daily time frame for PEP. It's gonna take quite some time for price to go back down there. We have a support present around here as well. I'm not going to bet this one, by the way. We have a support present around in this region. You can already see that. This is also a support, but I'm not going to bet this one. I would wait for price to go back down to this stronger one. This one right here. Rejection, rejection, back up, bounce, bounce, rejection, rejection, came back up. So this one is definitely playing out. I think the stop loss is also going to be placed below this low and something like this. This one is good. This one is good. This one looks good to me. Let's just move to weekly and draw the volume profile as well. Let's see where the volume profile is. Yeah, it's actually below in this region. But if you're buying in spot, it should not bother you much because you can have easily a nice decent entry. Yeah, for PEP, this is going to be my entry. 10938. At least 10938. It's trading around 15. I would wait for 10 region. Look at 𝗏4ck. I'm hearing about this coin for the first time. 𝗏4ck. Is this the one you're talking about? Hack terminal by virtuals. Probably another AI agent coin. Okay, so you have price already seems to have lost the support. Okay. Slightly difficult to judge, but you know, I believe that it's actually trading under this resistance area. It's not looking good until and unless we had a bounce off some nice level. Let me see. Let me just verify this real quick. Yeah, this one already had a nice bounce off this level. And by the way, if you guys are interested in some on-chain shit, please make sure to recommend me a few coins. I can definitely take a look at few. But this one had a nice entry around here. You can see that it already gave a 123% move. Then this shit went down, and now it's trading under this resistance area. So I don't know if you're holding a long position, then be a little bit careful because this one now has a lower low structure, right? Like if you draw the fib levels, price tapped the 61% level. So I would like to use this fractal and I would reverse these levels, and I would expect that in a longer run, if it fails to reclaim this level, it's at least going back down to this region, which is like around 88% down, like the all-time low. It's definitely gonna go down to all-time low if it fails to reclaim this spot. So it's quite difficult because this is also another fractal which is being used. I'm sure about that. Yeah, this fractal 60. Yeah, this one definitely is in play. So you can extend this one also. Let's see if this one is of any help. No, as per this one, we can at least go down to 127%, right? Which is going to be quite low. In fact, down to 0. So I would not use this one. Instead, the most recent one, this one we can definitely take into account. So at least price can go down to the launch price. The time it was listed, the lowest price, the all-time low, it was this right here. So at least it can go back down to this region. So be a little bit careful because this one is trading under the resistance area. Can you have a look at 𝗍? Sherlock, thank you. 𝗍, I already shared it in my, if you are from Kaizen, I already shared my analysis on 𝗍 just last night. I guess it was a MACD chart, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So, regarding 𝗍, what chart? Bluffing. Okay. So regarding ski, you can already notice this thing that this was the all-time high fractal, right? If you would draw this fractal, you know, if you would take a look at this rejection right here, it was precisely at 65%, 70% fib level, which means that this fractal is still in play, which means that the next bounce should have happened at 127% level, which exactly happened at 127% level. So people were saying that maybe I'm just shed posting or something like that. No, I'm not. Two important things: it's trading under a major resistance area. This one is a major resistance. You can see that we had a wick up to this area, then we went immediately down. Um, we went back up to this region, then we went immediately down, and then we had a rejection of this area, and we had the bounce of 127% level. So if this fractal continues to play, then we can have a move down to 161% level, this region right here. Okay, which is around like 60 cent, 66 cent, not 66 cents, 0.06617. So it can at least go back down to this region. I know it's difficult for people to digest, but I'm just looking at the charts. I don't have anything to do with the, like, I don't have any kind of emotional association with the chart. I'm just from a non-biased perspective, charting this coin. And I believe that since a lot many people DM me asking that you need to tell where exactly it's headed towards, I believe it may go down to this region if we fail to break above this resistance area very soon, or if we fail to hold above this spot right here, then there is a possibility of price going back down to this region right here. 7 days free trial. Yes, you can claim a 7-day free trial. Once again, all you have to do is just have a Bluffin account. No matter when you created it, no matter who was the referrer, what was the referral link using which you created the Discord created the Bluffin account. All you have to do is just have a Bluffin account, click the link in the description of this video, join the Discord server, give us your Bluffin UID, and we would give you a free trial and a few other incentives also. Yeah, I don't have anything to do with it. By this, I mean to say that, some people were saying that, maybe Sherlock is being too bearish on this coin. I'm looking at like all of these financial asset charts. I think I mentioned this thing last time also. I was looking at a few other experienced traders, back at the start of 2024. TradingView gave you this option to take a look at the recap for 2023. Okay, and most of the experienced traders, they shared the recap, and most of them had, TradingView was telling them that they looked at 12,000 charts, 11,000 charts, 11,000 symbols, 12,000 symbols, 13,000 symbols. That was maximum number. And I took a look at my recap, and by the way, I shared it with you guys in my channel also, in my swing trading channel. TradingView showed me that I took a look at 115,000 symbols just in 2023. So, you can imagine how much time I spent looking at these charts. So my, job is just to look at all of these charts and give you my proper, non-filtered and an unbiased opinion, right? Do you have any long-term holdings? Dodge, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. These are the only long-term holdings for me. Dodge, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. Once again, I'm not in favor of investing huge into meme coins. Is there some news about Sherlock? Is it possible to get your watch list, the charted one, or like any other one? Like I have Binance BTC pairs, ETH pairs, futures pairs, spot pairs, Bluffin futures, and all of these others as well. So if you want the charted one, I can share it with you. Let me just copy link. Here you go. This one is for the coins that I have added in my watch list. What do you think about the SMC methodology? I would say it's good. SMC, ICT, whatever your trading strategy is, it's all about what exactly are you comfortable, trading. It's all about, whatever confluence that you are using. At the end of the day, you have to do your proper risk management. You have to do the capital management, money management, and everything. And it's not about the trading strategies. It's a very controversial opinion, but once again, uh, I'm not in favor of using any complex trading strategies, because the edge, it can be extremely simple, and the edge, it's always unique. So just because someone else is profitable using SMC, that does not mean that you would be profitable trading SMC or ICT, because everyone has a different kind of trading style. uh, so yeah, this is a topic that we can discuss maybe in some other live stream. It's a very detailed one, right? There is no one line answer to this. Anyways, I think that that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. I would try my best, just like my team asked me to do that. I would try my best to do a few other live stream, at least one live stream every single day. It could be for like 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, but at least it helps you communicate with the audience. So yeah, I'm definitely trying to have a live stream every single day around the US market open. So let's see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully we would have another live stream tomorrow. We would be discussing the same things, the same chart requests and everything. If you have any specific question, you can always DM me. You can always join the Discord server. You can always DM me over Twitter. We have the mentorship spot still open. If you have not joined the mentorship program, you can still do that. And I would share the details with you in the live stream tomorrow. So thank you so much for joining in. Take care and have a great week ahead. See you guys tomorrow. So overall, where is this all shit going, bearish or bullish? You would have to watch the full live stream. I believe that if there is no executive order or anything of that sort, we are probably going down, at least down to 98.5k, and if we are lucky, then probably down to 92.5k as well. That was the whole crux of the discussion. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye. See you guys tomorrow.